Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
But when it comes to the mental health side of things in this industry, just do what Adam said, man. Don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to reach out and talk to somebody. This industry is fantastic for communication and communicating amongst each other. That's the biggest difference between this industry and the construction industry that I'm coming from. None of those guys would have wanted to hear any of my bullshit when I was in the construction industry, but everybody has got their ears open in this industry. Everybody's willing to help, whether it's on course knowledge or just to deal with personal life and whatever you're struggling with, the stresses, how to handle stress. Just never hesitate to reach out. The fact that we're in an industry and we have a community that kind of isn't afraid or doesn't hesitate to reach out and ask questions, just be a part of that community. We're all here to help. There's no competition in this industry. We're not fighting to land that hotel job or anything like that. We're not trying to steal contracts away from anybody. We're all here to build a beautiful golf course and enjoy the time we put into it, right?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Turf Today, presented by Toro. Count on it. And I'm Adam Kershane, joined by the one and only Brian Laurent. And today we're bringing you along to another great guest and somebody that we've actually had on the show before. Somebody that if you followed along from the beginning, you've heard his voice and his name. And he's somebody that pushes the envelope a little bit in this industry and has done a lot of work kind of behind the scenes. We're very fortunate to bring on Casey Kia from the Real Turf Crew. And it's a great conversation with him. Today, if you're listening to this on Tuesday when it came out, September 10th, it's Thank a Superintendent Day. It's International Thank a Superintendent Day, which has always made it's kind of weird to me. It was always a head scratcher to me because it says Thank a Superintendent Day, but they don't call it superintendent all over the world. So wherever you are, whatever high up position and leadership position you have at a golf course, specifically in a turf position, we want to say thank you. The more that I learn about this industry, the more that I learn that it's a grind. It is an absolute grind, and it is not for everybody. And the people that are in these positions and are the leaders of this industry by running these golf courses, we really do thank you. Wouldn't be a sport without you. Wouldn't be the beauty. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So from us here at Turf Today, thank you so much. We appreciate it. It's really important to see it throughout the industry, companies and brands and golf courses and golfers and crew members alike, everybody being able to reach out a hand and saying thank you. It is so great. And we are going to fire back down to Casey Kia and join him mid-conversation. Turf Today is brought to you by Toro. And did you know that Toro has a full line of work vehicles? Whether you're hauling materials, towing equipment, or shuttling VIPs, Toro has a vehicle for just about any need. Their Workman series is your go-to for power and payload capacity. The Vista series is perfect for guest transportation with a super comfortable ride. Plus, Toro has tons of options to customize your work vehicle, including all electric models. So check them out at toro.com.
Gentlemen,
how are you?
Sorry for the wait. I hope you guys talked about a lot of good things while I was gone.
We were just talking about you. It's fine.
Yeah, just digging into all the dirt.
Yeah. Staying true to Barron. Was that a Tim Hortons cup there?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Outstanding. There you go. Good Canadian with some Tim Hortons.
You guys have those in Ohio, don't you?
We do. Yeah,
nice.
We do. They're one of the big sponsors here, the Blue Jackets. At least I think they still are.
Right on.
No one would know that because no one pays attention to the Blue Jackets, but
yeah. Well, except for the last week or so.
Yeah, brutal.
That was wild, eh?
Yeah.
What'd you think of all that, Casey?
Oh, it's terrible, man. My younger brother wore number 13 because of Johnny.
No way.
Yeah. And yeah, he's Johnny Hockey, right? Everybody looked up to that kid. He was lived up to what he was everybody expected from him, and it's just too bad, man. Him and his brother. It's just awful, and like the timing of it before his sister's wedding, and doesn't get much worse than that.
Crazy. I know Brian's a big Blue Jackets fan. What's it like down there right now for that?
Yeah, it's pretty sad, obviously. And we have a couple kids on my son's hockey team that he coached them. Johnny coached some of these kids along the way. So obviously they took it pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different memorials throughout the city with his number and pictures and all that kind of stuff. Big memorial down at the rink and everything. So it's pretty sad. Like Casey said, he just Johnny Hockey and lived up to the name and was a great role model. So yeah, hit the community pretty hard.
Yeah, man. It was a tough one. I was numb for a day or two. Certainly not easy. But switching gears, Casey, we're really happy to have you back. The last time we had you as a co-host, and we didn't really dig into too much into your story, so we're happy to have you back and get into stuff with you.
Glad to be here, Brian. It's nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, likewise, Casey. Thanks for joining us here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're at, what you're up to.
So I guess I'm in my 9th year in the turf industry. I started out at Barrie Country Club. I'm coming from a project management background, though, in commercial construction. My old man passed away when I was about 19 years old. I thought I could run his company. Realized why he had a heart attack at 51. It's a pretty stressful career to be in. So I went to go take a different road, and I originally thought, because I love golf so much, I thought that I'd be a head pro or a director in golf. So I went to Georgian College for a 4-year degree and kind of focusing on golf management. My first year, so it's set up with 3 co-op terms. In my first year, we were supposed to do a turf co-op. Second summer was going to be a food and beverage, and then they'd wrap it up with a more of a pro shop thing, co-op placement. As soon as I got out on the golf course for my first summer, I just fell in love. I thought it was a great way to blend my love for golf and my love for construction, making something go from maybe not so good to being the reason why it starts to look a lot better. And I just felt like I could blend both worlds together and dove right into it. Finished my degree, which was a pain in the ass. They wanted me to do the other co-op placements in order to actually get all of my credits, but had to write a few essays just kind of explaining how that would take me away from my future career, and that I've already decided what I want to do, and there's no point in me going to serve drinks or anything in the restaurant.
Helps with those people skills, though. You get in the service side of things.
Yeah, I managed to secure those down with past experience working in construction and dealing with 45-year-old men, 50-year-old men, telling them what to do, and you really have to tippy-toe around them when you're 19 years old.
Sure.
So yeah, I was at Barrie Country Club for about, I keep getting mixed up, it's either 6 or 7 years that I was there.
They blend together. It happens.
They do. So yeah, I worked under Ed Doda was my first superintendent there, which showed me the rough and taggart way of going about being a superintendent, more the grass farmer type deal. And then from there, Grant Murphy from the National came in, and he showed me the cleanup side of things. And that's when I decided, like, for sure, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Got to work with some awesome guys down there, or up there, I guess now. Learned a lot of things, did a lot of projects, worked with some good architects. Yeah, from there, I thought I was going to stick around and maybe become either the first assistant or a superintendent there, but quickly realized those guys aren't going anywhere. The guys that were in line for it, they want to stick it out for quite some time, and I wasn't so prepared for that. So I went shopping around and ended up finding an assistant superintendent's position at the golf course that I actually hit a golf ball for the very first time. Cedarhurst Golf Club here in Beaverton, which is my hometown. I used to walk around there, drive around, sitting in the cart with my opa. My grandparents were members there. My aunts and uncles were all members there. My dad was a member there when he was growing up. And then, yeah, it's just nice it was a nice opportunity to come back home, get closer to the family, and then start on it was a bit of a blank canvas. So many projects on the go, but then none of them really seemed to be getting done. So to be able to show up and take off a lot of those tasks right away was a great opportunity for me to kind of get the feet wet and see how it is. So I'm in my third year now, being the assistant superintendent there. I'm under Ron Biggs, older gentleman. I think I don't want to get this wrong. He's either 69 or 70, and I think I'm lowballing there, and I think that's a safe thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good
But
idea.
he's up there. He's up there and close to retirement. The hopes are for me to take over the reins once he decides to step away. I have not done the short course or any real turf schooling. It's all just been all experience based, all soaking myself in as much knowledge as I can possibly get. Yeah, so that's the plan for me personally. When it comes to the brand that I started with the Real Turf Crew, I kind of similar to Adam. I think we were maybe half a year, 6 months to maybe 8 months apart. He started, and then I was looking on Instagram because coming from construction background, I'd always take photos of the projects we were doing, and there was countless pages that would promote them and kind of show you some love. When I went to go do the same thing for turf, I couldn't find anything. Adam was still, I think he only had 1,200 followers when I started, so he was still a small page. So I thought, well, why not? If there's nobody out there to promote my stuff, why not be that person to kind of jump in there and start showing some love for an industry that I obviously am was falling in love with and am in love with now. And yeah, that blew up a lot quicker than I thought. I was probably in my fourth year. Yeah, maybe my fourth year. It's in the turf industry, so I was still young and impressionable and no idea. Without the schooling or anything behind me, I didn't know really what I was talking about. I just knew I loved it, and I knew the experience that I gained myself. So I've used that a lot to reach out to people, ask questions, use them as resources. And yeah, it's grown quite crazy. I'm sure Adam can attest to that. Adam puts a lot of work into turf today, and it's a lot of work to manage a page like this. This year, it really got to me with everything going on personally, and which I can dive into. But yeah, with taking over the golf course, trying to manage a crew, and without the education, trying to apply and attain as much experience as I possibly could, found myself kind of overwhelmed. So I had to take a bit of a long, I think it was probably 4 months, 5 months away from the brand. But I feel like that was the right decision because I can't really be the face of a brand that if I'm not experienced. I think there's a lot of questions I get on there in my DMs. I'd like to be the one that can answer them. I'd like to be knowledgeable and represent the brand properly. So I felt like taking a step back was the right thing to do at the time. Beyond that, life threw me through a bit of a spiral this summer. That's for sure. Early on, we lost one of our crew members to a heart attack. His name's Terry Hartwick. He was one of our aces for sure. The glue that held us all together. Provided a great kind of segue or fountain, I guess, between me and the rest of the crew. His whole family works there. Actually, his mom, his dad. His dad's our mechanic. His mom's one of our operators. His twin brother is one of our operators. And then his daughter is also working with us. We brought her on last year. She's a high school student. She's worked quite a bit this year with us. But yeah, so he was 40 years old when we lost him to a heart attack, and
Wow.
that shattered us, man. Like our whole crew just it's maybe like I'd like to say it's getting back to normal because we can joke around, we see smiles out there, but we still see him out there. Like as we're driving around, like he had his one fairway unit, and every time you see that fairway unit, you think that Terry's on it, or so it's tough. It's one of the hardest losses I've had to face since losing my dad. Me and him developed a great personal relationship outside of the golf course as well. I call him a fisherman, but I feel like that's not giving him enough credit. I'd call him an angler because that guy just, it seems like every time he puts his rod in the water, he's catching trophy fish. So I'd come home from a trip up French River with my buddies for a bachelor party. I'd come back to the golf course with a whole album full of photos of fish that I caught, and he'd pull his phone out from last night when he decided to go out for 45 minutes, and I would quickly just tuck my phone back in my pocket. Yeah, so he's a talented young man. He's a funny young man. He was more than I could ask for as a crew member, and he was a great friend. But that was a massive loss that we faced. Took me quite a little bit to get over that, and I'm sure it's taken the crew just as long, if not longer. He's there for 4 years before I was there. So, and then above and beyond that, probably 3 weeks. No, so it was a couple weeks before that. He had some scares, and while he was going through the scares, I got some really, really good news. Me and the wife, we were bringing on we were going to have a baby there, which is something I want to do. Adam knows this. Something I wanted to do more than probably the only thing I want to do more than being a superintendent is be a dad. Probably stems a little bit from losing my old man at such a young age. But unfortunately, a couple weeks after Terry passed away, we found out that I wasn't going to be so lucky. Just turned for the worse, I guess. But yeah, so that compiling on with the loss of Terry, it's been tough. It's been a tough summer, trying to keep my head down, focus on work, and then obviously hold everything together at home. So yeah, that's part of the mental struggles of being a superintendent, which is something you can't really learn at the golf course. You kind of learn the entire time. There's a lot of stress going into this job. I've heard people talk about it, but I've never really experienced it until this year.
This episode is going to come out on Thank a Super Day, and across our industry right now, there's a lot of awareness towards mental health and taking care of yourself. And there's a bunch of companies and different pages that are going to be posting stuff about that. And I'd just love for you to talk about what you're kind of doing to help take care of your mental health, because this is something you've been going through since you were younger, and you've experienced some pretty big losses. So what have you kind of done to take care of yourself?
I don't know if it's the healthiest way of dealing with it, but I just work, man. I work my ass off. There's some things that you can't control, right? And there's some things that you can control, and I tend to focus on the ones that I can control. And yeah, the one thing that I'm working on now that isn't the easiest for me is just focusing on the family, making sure that you're here for them, making sure you don't discredit any of the small events in life that you need to be there for. Don't get too carried away with my work, although it is a place where I feel safe and I'm kind of in line and making the right decisions. Big thing that I'm working on now is trying to balance the two, where it's like your weekends, you gotta settle down, hang out with the wife, hang out with your friends, make sure you're putting as much effort into the time that you're spending with them as you are at the golf course. I still haven't gotten it figured out. There's still times where I know that I'm not maybe as present at home as I should be. I'm buried into my phone writing notes for the upcoming week, coming up with ideas and trying to plan them out, because that's what gives me inspiration and then keeps me motivated. And I'm doing all that while I should be kind of more present at home. So it's not that haven't killed that part yet, but it's definitely something that I'm working on. I think it's very important.
It's definitely important to take care of that family. And, when you're going through times like this, I think it's important to rely on the people around you too. And, obviously it sounds like the work situation you're in, it sounds like it's a very tight knit group of people. So hopefully you're kind of all working together and getting through a lot of these things together. And, is that something you're finding there where you are? You guys are all kind of coming together and rallying together to get through some of these difficult times?
Yeah, so between the crew, like between the rest of the crew outside of the family for Terry, outside of us who we've poured our hearts and souls into making sure that they're comfortable, both financially and just being at work. Because I'm sure most of our listeners or most of your listeners there, Adam, will know that it's not the highest paying career in the world. There's definitely some financial struggles that you don't want to add to the burden that the family's going through. So whatever you can do to kind of support them in that sense, I believe we stepped up quite well for the family. And then it's just giving them the space, man, giving them their space. That's what it was like for the first month, was just kind of stepping back, giving them options on what tasks they want to get done that day, making sure that they know that they can take off whenever they need to. They can go park underneath a tree somewhere and take a minute to themselves in private. That was a big part. And then slowly it got into the point where I could get back to. I try to make it fun at work. I try to make a lot of jokes. Try to keep a smile on people's face. But I had to take a break from that for a little bit, just to. You don't want to overstep. And then I'm finally getting back into being able to get these guys laughing and getting these guys smiling out there, which is I'm very happy to be back to that position. I know it's not. It's every now and then you still see glimmers of, I don't know, what do you want to call it, sadness, I guess. But the fact that I can still get these guys laughing is hopeful. And then the financial thing with his daughter being, I think she's only 16 years old. She's a smart, very bright young girl. She's got aspirations of going to college, and so that's something that we're trying to help out with right now. We're hosting a golf tournament in memory of Terry on the 14th of September, coming up next Saturday.
Nice.
And the golf course has done a fantastic job of making sure that all the proceeds from that will be going to the family. We've got a lot of golf courses in Ontario that have reached out and donated some packages for the silent auction. So hopefully we can raise the family and most of all his daughter a significant amount of money so that they feel comfortable. It's not, speaking like as somebody that's lost their dad, money doesn't solve all of the issues. And in my situation, money actually caused some issues. So yeah, you just want to kind of keep a safe distance, but also keep your eyes open and pay attention and be aware of anywhere that you can help step up and try to make their lives easier for them.
Well, I think they're very, very fortunate to have you, and I'm sure in some sense, you're there for a very specific reason. You're meant to go through this with them, and I really applaud you for doing the right thing and reaching out. I'm so happy for you to be in a position like this because it is going to make you so much stronger and you're going to be able to help so many people. So it is a negative, but I do like seeing the kind of the light at the end of the tunnel here for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Um, Say that I'm in a good position. You're a fantastic guy for that stuff, man. Like the fact that I could reach out to you and just shoot the shit with you. I think we talked for probably 45 minutes, and uh, yeah, so you're a big help there too, man. So
I think that's pretty common in our industry. There's a lot of men and women you could pick up the phone and call and talk to. And as you go through the industry, you're going to, build a bigger and bigger network as you go, and more and more people you can reach out to. And I think a lot of people would have taken that phone call. And I'm always here for you. And I think there's a lot of people that you don't know are there for you. So do keep reaching out, keep doing the right thing. Not every day is going to be amazing. So like I'm really proud of you, and you've always motivated me, man. Like you've always been right there to help me going with everything we've been going through together online. I never really had like an artsy side to Turf Today until the Real Turf Crew came around. It was always just putting out mainstream stuff and just putting out what people were sending. But what you were doing and creating a real art and a real eye-catching display of what greenkeeping is, that inspired me so much, and that changed what Turf Today kind of became. And you know, it was almost too bad we didn't do it together at the beginning, but we've kind of created something that has really helped the industry. I get messages from people all the time that we kind of motivated them to start in this industry. And I think that's amazing. And I know you did too. You're a big reason why there's so many younger people that are getting into the industry. So
yeah.
always keep using that as motivation, man.
No, absolutely. That's the goal, right? going out there and promoting the industry, I started to notice that there was less and less kids interested in it. And I know me as a golfer growing up, never really considered the superintendent's position as a career path that would keep me in the game. And I'm glad I found it. And yeah, nothing would make me happier than to get a few kids interested in it and keep bringing young guns into the industry.
Tell us a little bit more about the Real Turf Crew. What are you doing with that?
So right now it's really just a blog. It's just sharing. So from the 5 months I've had off, I've got about 2,300 messages that I am sifting through this week to try to respond to. And so like keep in contact with people, answering questions, finding them answers if I need to, sharing their content, giving them a bit of an outlet to brag or just make themselves feel proud about the career that they're in. That's essentially what it is. I do have a website that I'm trying to sell merchandise from, just to kind of support my future goals in with the brand, which would be to travel to golf courses and do similar thing as what the Superintendent Network does. I think you guys do a fantastic job at getting out there and showcasing our industry. I would like to do that like a more of a local way. The golf courses that might not get the attention that other bigger golf courses are getting. And like I've got lots of plans, but to dial them in is the tough thing. I'm trying not to dive too deep in where I start drowning, because I have definitely gasped for air a few times. It's pretty easy to get carried away. So yeah, selling merchandise right now, trying to raise some money so that I can take some time off work and go out there and be a little bit more involved in the industry. And yeah, the whole goal is to just be an outlet for kids that are joining the industry or that might have interest in it. Showcase, make people proud of the careers that they've decided to have, and then introduce it as well to people that might not understand that this is a great way to be involved in the golf industry. And doesn't mean they have to sit on a driving range showing Sally how to hit a golf ball. You can get out there and take care of the beautiful part of the golf course, and you don't have to deal with so many people. You get to choose who you work with. You don't have Sally coming into the pro shop. Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, you don't have Sally coming into the pro shop asking you to fix her 47 handicap. Yeah, I think it's much easier to teach a guy how to cut straight lines than it is to teach a person how to play golf.
It's usually a lot less frustrating too.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that I say is because I'm a 2 handicap, so I'm a pretty decent golfer.
Nice.
And some of the members,
no big deal. Pretty much a scratch golfer.
Yeah, I've worked for it. Hey, there's a big difference between 2 and scratch. I'll tell you
Is
that.
there?
I've been fighting to try to get down there, man. And yeah,
you get the people always asking you, like, are you going to go tour? Are you going to go play professionally? You're a 2. Well, you're really good.
So yeah, the members do always ask me, like, why aren't you teaching? Why aren't you giving lessons and stuff like this? And it's funny that so one of the things that I've always said is I realized quickly that I don't have patience for people. I'd rather watch grass grow. So,
patience in this industry is very rare too. So that's
there it is.
Yeah, you must hit a ball a long way though. Like you're almost 7 feet tall, aren't you?
Yeah, 6'7".
6'7".
Dang.
Okay.
And yeah, I can hit it a good ways. It's just keeping it in between the second cut that's the issue.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. So I find I'm better when I dial it back. I'm hitting like 280, 290. That's kind of my comfort zone. But
decent.
If I step on one, I can get it out there pretty far.
Is that yards or meters? You got to remember you're talking to an American here too. So
sorry, Brian. That's yards. That's yards.
Okay.
Canada doesn't use meters too much when it comes to golf.
Okay, good. Wasn't sure.
Well, speaking of Canadian golf, you did 2 Canadian Opens. So what was that experience like for you? Were they completely different or were they kind of similar?
Well, so it's weird, right? So like my first time I went down to Oakdale in 23. And again, the whole reason behind doing that is to get the experience, but then also to inject myself in the industry and see what it was actually like. Because yeah, I'm just a guy that worked at a private club for a while, which doesn't really give you that much connection to the industry, and then moving to Cedarhurst. I just wanted to get out there and see everybody else in the industry and get some different perspectives on it. So my first year I went down to Oakdale. I spent 10 days there. I was on site in a camper. And it was fantastic. That was the greatest experience of my life. Waking up 5 steps away from the garage doors, hopping on a fairway mower. I was part of the fairway crew for, well, the entire time I mowed fairways, and in between then I would kind of always linger around the maintenance barn and see if there's anything that. So it was Patrick Greenman is the superintendent at Oakdale. I would just linger around there, and if he had anything for me to do, go out there, blow out bunkers, rake bunkers, fix stuff up, blow off greens. So I was really involved in my first year, and some of the people that I met down there was awesome. That's actually where I met Mark Preer for the first time. Character he is, and if you sit down and meet up with him and get on his good side, the connections that you'll get beyond that are endless. So Mark Preer connected me with a lot of people, introduced me to a lot of people, which was fantastic. So yeah, my first year was a lot different than my second year. My second year, I don't think my golf course wanted to let go of me for 10 days like they did the previous year. So I was able to go down and do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Hamilton this year. Like, if I could choose, I'd obviously pick the 10 days because you get a lot more immersed in with the people. I don't think I even got to meet I met everybody in the first year at Oakdale. I don't think I got to meet 25% of the people at Hamilton, because it's like I wasn't staying on site. I was staying in a hotel probably 20 minutes away, 20-minute bike ride away. By the time I got in there, it was just straight to morning meetings. And by the Friday, everybody's kind of got I don't want to say they've got their own little cliques, but I think you know what I mean. Like the bunker crew all hangs out together. The fairway guys all hang out together. And it didn't seem like there was too much mingling going on. So I tried to reach out, tried to connect with as many people as I could, but I would say easily 25% maybe. If I'm lucky, I got 25% of a connection as I did in Oakdale. And then Hamilton's just such a big property, man. It's absolutely massive. So it's not like you're running into guys every hole or whatever. It's like Oakdale. It's a lot of the holes are running right next to each other, and while you're raking bunkers here or you're doing fairways here, you can see the guys over there, and you're always making jokes. And Hamilton, if you're on one golf hole, you're not seeing anybody on any other golf hole. So it was an experience. It was a great experience, but definitely different. And I would take Oakdale over Hamilton any day of the week. But nonetheless, you still learn. You still see the ways that they do things and how different it is from what we're doing. The capabilities of having a 75-man crew is something that I'll never get used to.
Crazy, eh?
It's pretty impressive, man. And just the eye for detail, the things to look out for. We had PJ. I can't pronounce his last name, but PJ is the PJ Tour agronomist that was at both Canadian Opens. And to see his eye for detail out there and the things that he notices that not many of us other guys will notice in order to provide that product for the pros, it's pretty special. And I recommend it, just like your recent post there, Adam. I recommend it to everybody that has an opportunity to go to a tour event, to volunteer. It's like I say it's 5 years worth of experience in a week. If you apply yourself and network and connect, shake hands, you're gonna learn more in that 5 to 7 days if you stay there for the period, like the practice week and the tournament weekend, yeah, you have a possibility of learning so much more than you can learn out on your own golf course. And even with the seminars and stuff that we go to, you sit down and talk to some of the guys that have been in the industry for decades, and you'll learn some things that you won't necessarily be able to learn in a classroom or at home at your local golf course.
You mentioned some of those things that you picked up. I mean, the attention to detail, but is there anything in particular that you learned while at those events you were able to bring back and apply at your golf course? Putting you on the spot.
No. No, we don't have the money. We don't have the money
the
to apply.
resources get in the way.
Yeah. The things that I picked up the most is like the thing that I would say that I picked up the most from it is as I transitioned from just being a greenskeeper, and I don't want to say just a greenskeeper, but from being a greenskeeper to an assistant superintendent and a person that's in a management role. At Oakdale, I learned from Patrick Greenman. Like he's so calm, cool, and collected. Like so steady. Like doesn't matter what happened, how much stress he was facing. It was like deal with one thing at a time. You don't have to be overwhelmed by things that you can't control. So like, yeah, from coming from Oakdale, I would say I learned to slow down a little bit. Don't overwhelm your guys. Don't overwhelm yourself, because if you overwhelm yourself, you're going to end up overwhelming your guys. And most of them don't want to be in that position. Some guys thrive off of a lot of information. And like I've got I've got 2 guys on my crew that are interested in a career in this and like want to maybe be an assistant superintendent moving forward. And those guys are the guys that will soak up that extra information. There's a lot of people that they're working to work. They don't want to take this stuff home with them, and kind of got to be aware of that and just take it easy, slow down, take a breath. Like I've never, the things that Patrick had to deal with during that first thing at Oakdale. One of the cranes went through the main bridge to get the guys to the back 9. Crashed through the bridge on the Wednesday before the opening round, and I expected him to be pulling his hair out, and no, he was as chill as a cucumber and dealt with it right away, called the guys he needed to call to get it fixed, and by 4:00 Wednesday afternoon it was as if nothing ever happened. And I asked him about it, and he just said, "Oh yeah, it's just something you had to do, just something I had to deal with. It's just another thing on the task list." And I was like, I'd be hiding in my office pulling my goddamn hair out. But
expect the unexpected, right? Plan for the worst.
Exactly. If I could say I took anything from it, it'd be that. It'd be just slowing down and taking a breath and looking at things rationally and doing what you can to get them fixed. Outside of that, like when it comes to on-course practices, like, yeah, there's not much you can do to match what they do. Like, I don't even think they do half of the things that they do for the Canadian Open all year round. I think they clearly step it up quite significantly, just to get that place looking the way that it needs to look for our Open. I'd love to have 10 fairway units and flying V every fairway at my golf course. Can't do it.
Yeah. Trust me, not many people are able to do that. They bring in a lot of additional resources for tournament time. That's there's no question about it. You've got that 7 a.m. start on both tees. You know, you've got to have a lot of people and a lot of things to be able to get out on the golf course and get it done in 2 hours.
Yeah, just when it comes to, and like I guess the eye for detail is one thing. Where it's like I drive around and I don't drive by much anymore. If you're driving around, you see something out there, you get it dealt with immediately, whether it's tracks in a bunker, debris on the side of a fairway, tree lines not looking the way that you want them to look. It's not something that you kind of just write down on the bottom of your list. It's something that if you see it, just deal with it, get it over with, and get started on it at least, and then just continue chipping away at it until it's done.
I was going to ask you, Casey,
Yeah,
you guys did a bunch of work on your bunkers and kind of dangerous work, eh?
that's back in Barrie.
Was that
I
back in
don't have too
Barrie?
many. Yeah, that's back in Barrie. I don't have too many funny stories from here at Cedarhurst, but working as a greenskeeper in Barrie, we were taking liners out of bunkers. They decided to put those that white liner in most of their bunkers, greenside bunkers. They didn't work out too well. They're always getting washed out, and then they'd expose themselves. Golfers would be getting their wedges caught on them, so we just went around and scraped all the sand out and ripped the liners out, and then backfilled repaired drainage wherever we needed to. But yeah, the danger part of it is we had one high school student um, working with us in a bunker as we're emptying the bunker, just hand bombing in the back of workmen. And I think it must have been his first week. I think it might have been his last week. But he got hit 4 times the same day on a par 3. 4 times he got hit
Like,
by a golf ball.
not watching, not paying attention, or
No, not paying attention at all. And like the odd thing is like you tell him like we can keep working, just keep an eye on a golf ball. Like if a golf ball's coming at you, the safest thing you can do most of the time is not move. Just stay still.
Get as close to the pin as you can.
Yeah, get as close to the flag as possible. But yeah, there's the 4 times that he got hit, we were all outside of the bunker, and he was still inside the bunker. And I'd see the ball coming our way. I look down at him, and he'd be head up, looking straight at it. I'm like, okay, he sees it. We're good. Bang, right in the hip.
you're just trying to go home early.
Well, I wasn't sending him home early. I was going to see how many times he could get hit.
It might be a record for the most I've heard.
It's yeah, and like the one time he even said, "No, I got it." Hit him in his shoulder. I was like, man, you got to get the hell out of here. This is the reason why members are trying to get us to wear hard hats all the time.
Yeah.
It was advised, but I don't think we really used the hard hats as often as we should. If that kid stuck around any longer, he was definitely going to be wearing a hard hat for sure.
It sounds like the bunker needed to redone because of all the traffic that it got. Man, if he's got four shots hitting him in one day, that's a lot of activity in that bunker.
Yeah, it did see quite a bit. I don't even know if that bunker's actually still there. I've been looking at pictures of Barrie. I haven't been to Barrie since I left, but hoping to go back at the end of this month. But they've done a lot of work, a lot of really good work from what I can see in the photos. So it'd be interesting to see if that bunker's actually even still there.
Yeah. So you talked about your tournament experience and how much you kind of enjoyed that. Is that level something that you are now aspiring to? I know you kind of mentioned you got a good situation where you are, but are you looking to potentially advance to a tournament style golf course?
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. That is absolutely what I think. Where do I think?
Well, I mean, what do you think? What is it about that inspires you to want to kind of get to that level? What do you like about the
intensity
style golf stuff? Yeah,
the intensity, man. I love the intensity. I'm a AAA hockey player growing up. Thought I was going to make it to the show. Obviously, learned quickly how unlikely that dream is, but I love the intensity. I love the competitiveness, and yeah, just to compete, to be one of those golf courses, and then yeah, the intensity of hosting an event like that just keeps you on your toes. Something like, I don't know, I guess in my mind, it's like the proudest you could be as a superintendent is to host some of the best golfers in the world on a piece of property that you've taken care of. Yeah, and just it's exciting. It's so exciting. I know I talk about him pulling his hair. Like I would be pulling my hair out. Patrick didn't. I feel like Patrick really enjoyed his time at Oakdale. And I know the members weren't too happy with it, but yeah, I like the intensity of it, man. I think that it gives you something to look forward to every couple of years. Yeah.
So 2 highly accomplished hockey players here. Out of 10 shots, how many times are you scoring on Adam?
I feel like he missed the net quite a few times. Big guy, hard shot. He'd be going high quite a bit.
Yeah, big Joe Sakic curve on my
Oh
stick.
no.
I put it over the crossbar from inside the crease.
So how come you haven't played at the Supers hockey tournament? I feel like we need to get you in there this year.
I think I might need to play in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started skating again last winter. I probably didn't skate for 3 or 4 years before that. But yeah, I might be interested in getting into that. Going to be playing pickup hockey with my buddies in town this winter as well. But yeah, it's been a while since I've actually done a full game.
Oh, you'd be fine. The superintendent tournament's more about drinking than hockey anyway, so I'm sure you'd be fine.
Well, that's just it. My other bad habit is I smoke cigarettes, so I don't know if the lungs can.
You're gonna have to
I
play
don't
D,
know
eh?
if the lungs are going to hang on for a full scrimmy against you junior A boys.
Has hockey or just getting out on the ice been something that you've gone to kind of deal with some of the mental struggles you've had recently?
Like I'd like to say yes, but that's more me just like making out, putting effort into spending time with my buddies. Really, what I do, man, is I
Yeah.
golf. I'm an addict of the golf course, and if I'm not cutting grass, I'm there hitting a golf ball.
It's your happy place.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing I'd say that I have done in that regard, because a lot of us in the industry just don't want to linger around the golf course for that long, or you get distracted if you're out there playing with your buddies. Sometimes I've played a lot more golf by myself.
Yeah.
Just getting in the right headspace, putting some headphones on, going out there and enjoying nature and slowing things down a little bit. Gives you lots of time to think. And yeah, it's golf, I would say, is my go-to for the mental health, which I understand might not work for a lot of people.
Doesn't work for me. Usually puts me in a worse headspace these days. But yeah.
Yeah, killer for a lot of people. Definitely.
When you play at a certain level for a long time, you can't do it anymore. It's really frustrating, but it is what it is.
I feel like that's what I'm going to feel like playing hockey against Adam this way. Some frustrating times out there on the ice. I might make my junior coaches happy with my 30-second shifts, because I never used to actually live up to those 30-second shifts when I was playing. I don't know if I've got much more than 30 seconds in me.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be guys on the bench saying, "Stay out there, fuck, I'm not done yet." So playing that much golf, do you have a hole-in-one story for us?
I have one hole-in-one story, but it's not mine.
Oh,
I have lots of hole-in-one stories. I've seen a lot of hole-in-ones, but I've never gotten one. I've played with a few guys that have gotten them, and then I've witnessed more than I'm happy with members getting hole-in-ones, and especially a lot of members that don't deserve them, in my opinion. The one hole-in-one story that I will talk about, though, is there was one time I was changing holes at Barrie, and at Barrie you're doing the whole shebang. You're doing garbages, tee blocks, blowing off tees, changing yardages on par threes, changing the holes, realigning bunkers, like rakes in the bunkers. Like, you're doing a whole lot, right? So it's a lot to do, and you end up getting either caught or very close to caught by the time you get to 18. And the one time I was changing the hole on a par three, and I get up to the par three, literally just put my auger in the ground, and you see a cart pull around from 15 green, and you're like, oh shit, I'm caught. So they're sitting on the tee deck waiting for me to change the hole, and I literally dropped before my plug was even stitched in or set. I just ran over and dropped the cup into the hole. I was going to let the guys play through, because I knew there was a big gap behind them. They're just fast early morning golfers. And sure enough, I put the cup in, tapping in with the flag, left the flag in, obviously, walked to the back of the green to my hole cutter and my tools. And by the time I turned back around, just one bounce straight in the hole.
yeah.
I was like, that's pretty fucking awesome. It's not like we have a pin sheet or anything. I just go around and randomly cut holes and pick good spots, and I kind of rushed through that one. But as I'm looking at it, like, I hope this is a good spot, because you'll hear about it from the members at Barrie Country Club if you don't. It's safe to say I stuck around and enjoyed a few free drinks at the end of that work shift.
I was wondering if you got some reward out of that whole location there.
Yeah, Barrie was pretty good with that stuff, man. They had a toonie pot on the one hole. It's the seventh hole. It's got a nice big bowl in the front of it. And me and we would alternate weeks with I would alternate weeks with another crew member, where we'd change holes every other week. And him and I have gone out there a few times and threw balls from the approach into the bowl to see, and you just follow the dew lines, and whichever one crosses wherever they cross the most often, you drop a hole there. And we'd avoid that spot for quite a few weeks until that toonie pot got jacked up, and then we'd slam her in that spot. And there's a few times you'd collect a couple $100 out of that toonie pot from the guy. So that was always a fun little game we got into. I'm sure if they watch this, they're gonna love to hear that we knew exactly where to put it for them to get one.
That is funny. You might have to explain to people what a toonie is too.
Okay, yeah, Brian, a toonie is $2.
Okay.
I think I'm like, no, I don't have one.
Kind of wild.
But yeah, sorry, toonie's $2. You're right.
$2 coin.
$2 coin every time they went to go play it. They'd
okay. I figured it was some sort of hole-in-one insurance or hole-in-one pot.
And with 150 members playing through there every day, it'd get up there pretty good. So after 2 weeks or so, there's about 2,500 to $3,000 in the pot, and you let them get a hole-in-one with that, they don't hesitate to give you $200 or $300.
Nice.
That's awesome.
What are some of the things you think you still need to learn then, Casey, as you're looking to advance in your career here, take that next step?
The exciting office stuff I could probably use a little bit when it comes to dealing with the paperwork. I've been diving into it a little bit over the last year or two, but I enjoy being out there. I enjoy being with the guys. I enjoy making an impact out on the golf course. But yeah, when it comes to budgets and numbers and things like that, that's definitely an area that I need to advance my knowledge. And then another thing that, like, I do it all the time, but I don't feel like you can. There's guys that have told me, like, no matter what, you won't get comfortable, and in a party you don't want to get too comfortable with it. But spraying practice, there's a lot of things out there, a lot of products out there that I either haven't used or haven't used enough. So I'm not necessarily overly comfortable or confident in some of those spraying applications. I'll sit there and do math. Like, if I was spraying tomorrow, I'd be sitting down right now doing, like, dialing in my math as best as I can, and then reaching out to a few guys and being like, do these numbers look good? Like, is this what you would do, or is there anything you would do differently here? So yeah, when it comes to my confidence in my spraying applications, that's another thing that I would like to improve upon for sure. Because I've taken about 5 months off of the Real Turf Crew. I don't want to talk about the Real Turf Crew too much on your page, but I do want to, any of your listeners, because all my followers are most certainly following you as well, and I would just like to apologize to those guys for taking such a hiatus, not being around. If I haven't answered your messages yet, I promise you I will get around to answering your messages. And then I know that there's probably 3 or 4 guys out there that are guys and gals that still have outstanding merchandise to get shipped to them. I'm looking for them in my messages to send them a message and be like, hey guys, like, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to get that out as soon as possible. So if you are one of those guys or girls, please don't hesitate to send me a DM and remind me, just so that it's at the top of my list there. Cause like I said, 2,300 messages is a lot to go through. I'm probably getting through like maybe 100 a day right now.
That's impressive.
So if anybody can, if any of you guys are the ones that I'm talking about here that are that are missing prizes or missing merchandise from me, let me know. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I won't think it's rude or anything like that. I'll prioritize that right away and get on top of it. And then, yeah, I just want to thank you, Adam, for sticking around and being the guy that you are.
Yeah, buddy, I appreciate that.
And Brian, it's lovely to meet you too, Brian. Sorry, I didn't give you the phone call when I get all sad and mushy, but maybe one day I will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hopefully I can get up there at some point. So yeah, I mean, and one thing I just wanted to say, is I don't think you ever have to apologize for taking a little breather from Instagram or whatever it may be to take care of yourself. So obviously you want to stay in touch with your people and you want to get back to people, but don't ever apologize for doing what's best for you. I think everyone understands.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I would like to kind of maybe repeat what Adam said when he was talking about like my ability to reach out, which was very difficult for me to do. But when it comes to the mental health side of things in this industry, just do what Adam said, man. Don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to reach out and talk to somebody. This industry is fantastic for communication and communicating amongst each other. That's the biggest difference between this industry and the construction industry that I'm coming from. None of those guys would have wanted to hear any of my bullshit when I was in the construction industry, but everybody has got their ears open in this industry. Everybody's willing to help, whether it's on course knowledge or just to deal with personal life and whatever you're struggling with, the stresses, how to handle stress. Just never hesitate to reach out. It's another reason I'm so proud of the fact that I have 2,300 messages on there. They're not all requests for knowledge or whatever, but there's a lot of them. And the fact that we're in an industry and we have a community that kind of isn't afraid or doesn't hesitate to reach out and ask questions, just be a part of that community. We're all here to help. There's no competition in this industry. We're not fighting to land that hotel job or anything like that. We're not trying to steal contracts away from anybody. We're all here to build a beautiful golf course and enjoy the time we put into it, right?
Attaboy. Well said. Very well said.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote down on my notes. I'm glad you mentioned it because I do think this industry, especially can be a little tough for people to potentially open up about some personal issues and even on the other end, hearing of someone going through something and being afraid to reach out, not knowing, the right thing to say or whatever it may be. I think it's just important for people to know that they don't have to have the right words. They don't have to know exactly what the answer is. It's just reaching out and letting someone know that you're there. I think that goes a long way in and of itself. So, again, just like you said, don't hesitate to reach out to people because most cases someone else has been through the same thing and they can help you.
Yep. And it's 100% okay to not be okay. And if you need time off work, you need a day off, you need a week off or whatever it is to take care of yourself and reset and work on yourself and come back stronger, that's okay. And if you're working for somebody who's not going to acknowledge that or give you that time or respect that, you're probably not working at the right place. And most of the people we've come across and we've talked to are very respectful of that and do really try and give their staff the right time. But if you need more, whoever you are, whatever you do, if you need more time for yourself, hey, ask for it and do the work.
I need a month off, Adam. Is that okay?
Sounds good, bud.
Yeah. Not to make light of the situation, but
if you are working with somebody that doesn't understand it or is not willing to give you that time, just know that the industry is, that person would be a very small part of the industry. You could reach out to almost any other golf course in your area, and there's a 99% chance that you're going to find somebody who is willing to work with you and is willing to allow you to prioritize your personal life. And if the home isn't good, it's likely that you're not going to be performing well at work. And what is it? Home is where the heart is, and you gotta focus on that.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Definitely.
I wouldn't mind saying, I don't know when this is going out. Tuesday might be a little crammed for late notice, but if there's anybody out there that's interested in supporting us with this upcoming Memorial Golf Tournament for Terry Hartwick, Like I said earlier in the podcast, I'll reiterate it. He was a go hard. He was, if I was to take over as superintendent, he was one of the top guys that I would be choosing and selecting as my assistant. His knowledge in the industry was amazing. He applied himself like you could only dream of a crew member to do. And then I'll circle back to the financial struggles that go on with losing somebody like that. His family could really use some help in that sense. I'm not going to ask for any monetary thing or anything like that. But if you're a golf course in Ontario, and you've got some pull and you could get something that you'd like to donate towards the golf tournament, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at the Real Turf Crew on Instagram. Send me a DM. We would love to get as many prizes as we could, or as many auction items as we can out there, and just really help his daughter and his family out as much as we can, because anything we can do helps, and we just want to get these guys back on their feet, and nothing's gonna fill that void of losing their son, their brother, and their father, but taking away some of the other stresses in life will definitely be helpful. So if you're in a position to help out there, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd really appreciate it. I know the family would really appreciate it.
There's a link or anything, I don't know, Adam, is that something we could throw in the show notes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't really have a link. It would just be
Okay.
Contact me, and I would like, I'm hope like ideally what we'd be doing is, and we've gotten a lot of these, is just foursomes from golf courses.
Yeah.
There's not a GoFundMe account or anything like that I'm aware of, which I'm more comfortable with getting something donated as simple as a foursome, and then I can put that on the silent auction table, and then all that money would be going towards a college fund for his daughter, and then any financial support that his parents and twin brother needs.
Okay, buddy. Well, if anything comes up
Awesome.
between now and Tuesday, let me know. But I thought you did a great job here. And do you have any pictures you want me to use? Anything specific, or just grab a few things from your page? I think you might have sent me a couple pictures actually for last time. I forget.
Yeah, do they have the stash in them, or am I fully
I don't know.
bearded?
You may have to take a new couple with the stash.
Yeah, I'm trying to rebrand the stash, man. So
Oh boy,
Nice.
I love it.
Nice.
I'll send you something special.
Okay,
Nice.
perfect.
Love it.
All right.
Casey, great to meet you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure's mine, Brian. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right, buddy. We'll chat soon. Okay.
See you later, Adam.
No, I think great message. You touched on some great points when it comes to work life and also home life, and just how to kind of get through things. I don't think there's ever any right way to get through certain situations, and just like you said, just focusing on family, focusing on himself at times, and kind of rallying the people around him. I think that's super important.
Very important. Yeah, I'm very proud of him. He's come a long way, and he's still working really hard. And I can see him being a superintendent, no problem. Like give him a few years and some experience, he'll definitely be there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's cool. I love hearing the hockey stories. That's fun.
Yeah, so we'll have to make a bit of a video or something of the superintendent tournament this year.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Get some content and put it out, because I always go there.
Is that in winter?
It's usually right around conference. I'm usually either at the tournament and then go to the conference, or I go to the conference and then I go to the tournament right after. So it's
nice.
Just around that time, yeah.
Canada in the winter isn't usually on my bucket list,
but it's in Niagara Falls.
South, but
it's in Niagara Falls, and like it's so cold when we go up there every year. Oh my god,
dude, you're not
cold.
selling it right now. You're really not selling it for me.
It's also like the dead time too. So you go down to the strip and there's nobody there. Like you go to the casino, there's nobody there.
Oh boy.
But it's a good time. It's like you going to any of your events. You see all the same people every year, and then you don't see them until you do the event again. Like, so it's like the carbon copy every year. We do this dinner, we go to this place, we play these guys. Like,
it's still got to be a blast.
It's great, yeah. You just can't get too drunk because trying to play hungover or continue drinking the next day, it's tough. You gotta kind of find like a happy medium.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll say thank you as always to our amazing sponsor, Toro. We will see you guys next week. So be sure keep those reels sharp. Have a good one, Brian.
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.